It's 6:00 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. I ask everyone to rise for the invocation. This evening, I'm asking Reverend John Ortiz to lead us in prayer.
Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We ask you to bless this time together, Lord. Grant our leaders wisdom today, grant them discernment. And Father, we thank you for unity as we discuss matters that affect Nederland. Father, we ask you to let integrity, humility, and compassion be the foundation of every word that's spoken today and every action that is taken. We ask you today to help us seek the good of our neighbors and the peace of our city. We pray for protection over our first responders, our educators, families, and every citizen who calls Nederland home. Bless this city with prosperity, safety, and a spirit of cooperation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Lead us in the pledge to the United States flag and then the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. At this time, citizen comments. At this time, members of the audience may comment on any city-related subject not on the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak shall sign in before the meeting with their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise allowed by the City Council. The Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from discussing items not listed on the agenda. A member of the audience that desires to speak during City Council's consideration of any specific agenda items is requested to notify city staff prior to the start of the meeting. So now for citizen comments on items not on the agenda. Going once, twice, hearing none. Okay. It is now 6:02 p.m. The City Council will announce that it will go into executive session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss matters as specifically listed on the agenda or as authorized by law. The first item, personnel, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.074, discussion on search for city manager, and then discuss personnel appointments, city clerk, director of finance, police chief, city attorney, and city judge. Will be done as soon as we can. Thank you very much. Okay, it is now 6:28. We are back from the executive session. We do have action to take. Item number 6, appointments. A, consider action authorizing the appointment of the police chief. Entertain a motion.
You need a motion and a second to advance.
Yes, to have any discussion, so I need a motion in a second.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for item 6A.
What's your motion?
Okay, my motion is I move to appoint Rod Carroll for the police chief of Nederland at grade 127, step 5, with 4 weeks of vacation.
We have a motion in a second. Any discussion, council?
I had a few comments I wanted to make to the public. I want to sincerely thank Chief Porter for his many years of dedicated service and leadership to the Nederland Police Department. We're grateful for his years of service and wish him the very best. So thank you, Chief Porter. We're very fortunate to have an outstanding group of applicants, experience, professionalism, and leadership. Each candidate brought speaks highly of our community and our department. That being said, Chief Carroll brings a rare combination of experience, credentials, leadership, and character to this position. He served 37 years in law enforcement, rising from patrol officer to assistant chief deputy at the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, and currently serves as the chief of police in Vidor. In these roles, he's led agencies of varying sizes, managing personnel, operations, budgets, and incidents. His academic and professional background include certified public accountant, certified public manager, 2 master's degrees, Master of Criminal Justice and Master of Public Administration, Master Peace Officer certification, licensed paramedic, graduate of the Bill Blackwood Law Enforcement Leadership Command College, graduate of the Texas Police Chiefs Association's Command Officer Program, and he also has experience as a public information officer. He's developed and led numerous community programs, developing internship partnerships with Lamar University and Baylor University, experience with juvenile mentoring programs, field training and officer development programs, development and implementation of both criminal interdiction and the K-9 unit in Vidor, DEA and ATF task force partnership experience, SWAT teams, and tactical medical operations. Under his leadership, Vidor PD achieved full accreditation from the Texas Police Chiefs Association, the first and only department in Southeast Texas that's been able to achieve all 182 metrics to become accredited. And through the TPOA, now reviews police departments across the state. He brings experience, and I encourage my council members to support his appointment. Thank you.
Any other member of council have any topics for discussion on this one? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? The ayes have it. I congratulate Chief Carroll. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank y'all for the confidence you're putting in me for this organization and the opportunity. I look forward to working with the men and women of the Nederland Police Department as well as the community as we move things forward. I would like to thank foremost my wife for her 37 years of support while I was a police officer. I was a young officer 1 year when we got together. I know she doesn't look like it, but that's where we stand today. I really do look forward to working with everybody here and us achieving accreditation. That's going to be one of my goals, and I'll just state it today, is I hope to within 2 years to have us an accredited agency here in Nederland. Thank y'all so much. I would be without one of my mentors in law enforcement for many years. See, I will be a chief. This is the chief.
What is your start date here?
Um,
Have you
I-
worked that out?
Yeah, I think I have it worked out to the last week of July. Maybe a little bit sooner, but let me work. I didn't want to move anything official with the city council there. Obviously, y'all know I'm doing a dual role of city manager and city police chief. So I'm hopefully 3 to 4 weeks, but no more than 4 weeks. Yeah.
I want to sincerely thank all who applied. There were some very good applicants, very good interviews, internally and externally. And to those who weren't chosen, try again next time because y'all have some good resumes and some good experience. The experience is the accent I want to put it on. So please, don't get, disheartened by this, if you didn't get it. I found Chief Carroll to be a special, candidate here. Any other member of council, have anything to say? Got a hearing none. Item 6B, consider action authorizing the appointment of the city clerk, director of finance, city attorney, and city judge in accordance with the city charter. Citizens, the city charter in section 4, article 4 of the city charter lays out that the city council appoints, you're talking from sections 4.05 to 4.10 or 4.09, these 5 positions. They are they're on annual appointments, but they ultimately serve the pleasure of the council. And so for city clerk, that we're going to make no changes there, Tony Underwood. Director of finance, no change there, Heather Stucker, and no change with the city attorney or city judge, so that they will remain Chris Levens and Larry Dowden. So those are the names that we showed, but I think Councilman Sonder has something to say about the pay, because 2 of them, the city attorney and city judge, are paid in a little bit different manner. So
Mayor, I make a motion to approve a 2% COLA increase for both city attorney and city judge. Remove our past practice.
would that be, what's the effective date on that?
Effective date will be October 1st.
That's for the COLA, but these,
COLA.
right, but these appointments I should have said earlier, effective July 1st. So with the July 1st appointments for all of these, and in addition, your motion is to the 2% COLA effective 10/1.
City attorney, city.
City. Do we have a second? Second. Is there any discussion on this item? Actually, I have combined letter C. Sorry, y'all. That's kind of consideration of 6C as well. Consider setting the monthly compensation of the city attorney. Sorry about that. We're going to it once. Okay, hearing none, all in favor of 6B and 6C, please say aye. Aye. Aye, opposed no, the ayes have it. Regular agenda, new business, minutes, minutes, June 9th, 2025 regular meeting and the June 9th, 2025 special meeting. Ms. Dunn?
Mayor and council, you have in front of you copies of the regular minutes of the city council meeting on June the 9th. And there is also a copy of the special meeting on the June 9th for your approval.
I'll accept the motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Siner, second by Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz to approve both the regular meeting and special meeting minutes from June 9th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Item 7B, May 2025 departmental reports. Ms. Dowd.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mayor. We've got several of the departmental reports for review. I can go through them, and if there are any questions, staff is here to make
Let's do it this way, Ms. Dowd.
All right.
Does any member of council have a question? We'll take these one at a time. Any member of council have a question on the police department report? Does any member of the public have questions on the police department report? Hearing none. Moving along, Ms. Dowd, which is the next one?
Fire rescue.
Fire rescue. Any member of council have a question on the fire rescue report? Any member of the public have a question on the fire rescue report? Hearing none. Moving along. Next item, Ms. Dowd.
Public Works Department, including the Water Department, Wastewater Department, Street Department, Solid Waste Department, and Animal Control.
Any member of council have questions for any of these items?
Yes, I do. I'd like to get an update for our citizens on the ditch cutting and culvert.
I do have a map in the unfinished business.
Ms. Dowd, did you put your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have a map for the unfinished business section at the bottom of the agenda.
And also outside of that, nothing.
Any other member of
It's sewer, it's culverts, it's cat population. That's part of it. Cool. Okay. So other than the map associated with the unfinished business, any, in their progress, I don't have anything. But the map, definitely, we have questions. Get to.
Okay, that'll be at the unfinished business, at the letter A. Okay, we'll talk about it. But on this part of their report, the monthly report, no questions on one.
Yeah.
Any citizen have a question on the Public Works Department report? Not including the what's under unfinished business.
I do.
Ransom be recognized.
Susan Tony, 504 Carriage Lane. I have a question about the animal control stats. I find them a little odd. The public, I would think, would be interested more in what's actually going on, like the number of intakes monthly, the number of live releases monthly, which could include adoptions, rescue pools, return to owners. The public, I'm sure, has some interest in what is euthanized and what has been deceased in custody. This information here that I see is, I don't consider it of any value. It's just, possum, what does that mean? I mean, I know that animal control picks up other animals, raccoons, if they're trapped, they're released, that kind of thing. So I think we might need to review a little bit more of what's actually going on, because it doesn't give credit to animal control and what they're actually doing on the streets of Nederland. And work orders, to equate that to calls for service. Because does this include after hours when they're called to go out? Does it include the weekends when whoever's on call? A lot of times I know that when police go out on a situation with a difficult animal, whether it be a dog bite or a something like that, a dangerous animal, they are going out to meet with the police to take care of that. So I think we need to look at this a little bit more and give a little bit better effective results to give credit to animal control. Thank you.
Would you mind speaking to Ms. Dowden later on this evening, or call her tomorrow and go over this in a little more detail?
I would love to.
Sufficient products, it's very good.
I would love to.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And could that be something that goes on in the Animal Control Advisory Committee that we're talking about? The elder, I'm sure. Yeah, I think that would be the place for it.
Any other citizen have any question about the Public Works Department report? Hearing none. All right, do we need a motion to accept these, or is this just a information? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item C, tax assessor collection report, Ms. Dowden.
Oh, we have some more reports, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's more reports, okay.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Can I interject here for just a second? I'm seeing some people outside who are not able to hear those speakers. Could we make sure they're on?
Yeah, already.
Okay. Seeing some citizens out there sending me some signals in there.
All right, can anybody in the foyer hear me? I'm speaking in a normal voice. Can anybody in the foyer hear me? Barely, and I'm speaking, I'm almost got it in my mouth. Anybody hear me? Is that better? That's better. These need to be, these microphones need to be
Right.
Stronger, yeah. Is this better? Yes. Okay, council members, and staff, please be sure you're speaking directly into the microphone, including anybody at the podium. Councilman Jones, you had a question?
That was very good. That was it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Has more reports.
I have
Go ahead.
four departmental reports. The next one is the inspections department. And with that, they have added the number of inspections that was requested. So on the back page, they did have 83 inspections that they noted.
That starts, Councilman Jones at, that's the fee report. Inspections start on page, 50. Yes. Any questions on that one, John? I had no issue. Citizens, anything on the inspections? Code enforcement.
The next one is the code enforcement reports. Details all code enforcement issues.
Any council member have questions about the code enforcement cases report?
I sent several to the interim city manager and they were all quickly, so I appreciate the work and the timeliness and then popping on those.
Staff's doing a good job trying to stay.
We're not perfect, we're better though. I mean, in the one over on Hill Terrace was a good example. I think it's fun.
Any citizen have a comment on the, or a question on code enforcement cases report? That begins on page 51. Right, hearing none. Looks like the library is the next one.
Library is next, correct.
Any council member have a question or comment about the library report? Any citizen have a question or comment about the library report? Hearing none. Looks like Parks and Recreation.
Yes, sir.
Anything you'd like to say about that, Ms. Bell? Or on any of these?
No,
Okay.
I'm good with
Okay.
those.
Any council member have something on Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, I do have a question. I'd like to find out. So I know we voted for Sundays being our private party day before. So when people make reservations for private parties, what is the cutoff date? If we define that out as a Tuesday or Wednesday or a week before? Because what I like to address is I'm looking at potentially, if we have no private parties booked and we're a week out and we know it, there's no reason we can't put something out on social media and open a pull up on Sunday. For people, so I like that.
Okay, I will get that information back to Kim.
I just don't know what the deadline is. And if we got a week's time, it's okay. Now, if it's one day, it doesn't really do any good. We wouldn't have anybody there, but I'd be very minimal. With a week's notice, I'm sure these people are booking parties way in advance. So that would be something that, citizens like to see that open back up.
Got Toby here. He may be able to answer that question.
Okay.
Toby, can
Hey,
you
Doc.
hear us?
Not today.
Can y'all hear me?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. We didn't see your lips moving though.
Sorry, you can't hear me?
No.
Let me see.
Try again.
I don't know. I've got my volume on.
No audio.
I'm not sure.
Right.
I will get back with Toby.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Answer.
We'll let you and
Sorry.
city manager talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Any citizen have a question for Parks and Recreation Department? If not, moving along, Ms. Dunn.
Finance Department.
Page 69. Any council member have a question on the Finance Department report? Hearing none. Citizen, do you have any question or comments on the Finance Department monthly report? Hearing none, moving along. Ms. Dowd, the city clerk.
Yes, sir.
Council members, anything on the city clerk department report? And any citizens, city clerk department report? Hearing none. Next one is down HR department.
Yes, sir. That's the final.
It's the final one. Any councilman have a question on the HR report? No. Or citizen on comments, questions on the HR report? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Thank you to the department heads and Ms. Dowden. They can be excused this morning, I believe. I don't think there's any, no.
We have unfinished.
Yeah, we have all, we got.
Other than public works, I think all the work.
Okay.
Or there's animal control as well, whoever could be answering, or cat population, whoever can be answering that.
Friends of God, what about? Do we need finance with the friends of God questions?
Potentially,
Potentially, okay, that's a good idea, thank you, Nelson. All right. Okay, but, the last one, you know, I believe, the ones who don't have anything else on the agenda for everything else. Now we get to, letter C, tax assessor collection report, May 2025.
here, city staff is, oh, excuse me, I'm on the wrong one. The 2024-2025 total adjusted tax levy is $7,903,502.68. And the amount of collections as of May 31st, 2025 was $7,229,304.99, which represents 91.47% of the total tax levy. In comparison to a prior year, the amount of property tax collected as of May 31st, 2024 was $7,432,069.23, which represented 92.10% of the total tax levy. The finance director is here and she recommends approval.
Ms. Tucker, do you have anything to add? Any council member have a question about the finance report? No question. Any member of the public have a question about the finance report?
So one quick question, how does that compare to last year?
That's what I was reading. So last year it was 92.10%
Okay.
collections. The current is 91.47. So they're very, very close.
Thank you.
Does the tax assessor collector have anything to add?
Yes, I think we do. We're doing our best, but student taxation's coming up, so we're gearing up for another round. So I'll get to know your ladies really well this weekend. So
Any member of the public have a question about the finance report? Hearing nothing, moving on. Ms. Godby said that was the last, no, there's one more.
MD.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean on the planning of the report.
Oh, yes, so that's complete.
Letter D, discussion and possible actions to approve the closure of Avenue H, 23rd Street and 45th Street for the July 4th celebration event. Ms. Dowd.
Yes, Mayor and Council. City staff is requesting the closure of Avenue H between 23rd and 25th Streets on the 4th of July, between the hours of noon through 10 p.m. It's going to allow staff to install water barricades to help prevent vehicles from entering the closure area. It will reduce the risk of inattentive drivers entering the pedestrian crossing to maintain a safe crossing area for pedestrian traffic in and out of the park, coupled with traffic on Avenue H in front of the park. The park has been closed in the past years for the 4th of July celebration, with only staff, volunteers, veteran VIPs being able to park in the park. So it's been closed for years. Traffic on Avenue H in front of the park creates safety issues throughout the day, and especially at the conclusion of the event when it's dark and people are trying to cross the road. So staff is requesting approval of this item.
Is this the first year that's been closed? Avenue H has actually been closed? Yeah.
This is the
I can't
first
remember
year.
it being closed.
It's never been closed. This will be the first year to try and create a safe passage for pedestrians.
It's definitely dicey when you're walking across H.
Mhm.
Right in South 23rd, 27th, 21st, I'm gonna park all up and down, and it's a great look, I'm glad to see people there, though. And it's a dark area for people to run out, so I'll make a motion for it.
Okay, we have a motion to close Avenue H between South 23rd and South 25th Street for July 4th. Do you have a second? I'll second. No, Tommy will second by Jones. Any discussion?
What about the people that live on the street right there and they can have access to their house?
Yes, I spoke with Assistant Chief Arnold, and they will have people manning the barricade area. If he's here, if y'all have any specifics, but I think he is going to let the homeowners come in and out as needed.
We didn't want to hear about that after the fact.
Okay, any, citizen, any other council member have anything? Any citizen have a question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the motion on item 7B, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, the ayes have it. Okay, appointments, let me explain to council and to the citizens on these various boards and commissions and such. Several of these commissions require that a person live in a particular ward, while others are citywide, at large, you could say. And on some of them, for example, planning and zoning, which is what we'll talk about first under Roman numeral 1 under 7E, those are ward specific. Now, it's wild how it was shown on here. It showed that there was a position for Ward 4 in the mayor, and then 2 for Ward 2. So how about and then the one of them in Ward that says Ward 2, Scott Watches. I propose making that the mayor's appointment and having the one currently held by Alex Rupp being the one for Ward 4. Is council good with making that one change?
I'm fine with that. I think you should have one anyway. I think everybody should have a say.
So if council unanimous consent on that one, giving the one to help by Rupp. She took Ward 4 and the Scott Watches to the mayor.
And that will be in the chair.
And that would be basically in the chair. Okay, but we do have some issues with some of these appointments. For example, Lance Howell, the one for Ward 3, actually lived in Ward 1. So since Ward 3 is Councilmember Saunders' appointment, were you ready to have one tonight, sir?
No, not this one. We're just getting in late last night and finally seeing the minutes. I'd like to table this one for the reducing ward. You're kind of going back, and I like to look at the historical data. It was the ward that's elected. There was nothing I know of back in the old days, and it's not always anymore, that you couldn't choose somebody from another one. So there's nothing in there to validate that before we discuss it. But I would like to table D. Gives us a little more due diligence to talk to people that may be interested. And we have a list. I want to talk to people face to face, the ones that have been on, different ones that want to remain. There's time to get some fresh blood in there. I'm fine with that. I'd like to table
The entirety of E, or just the ones that would deal with Ward 3? I'm just trying to get clarity here.
I prefer the entirety. Yes, up the council. First, it happened in June in 2 weeks.
That's going to be past the
There
date.
are, I'll just note the ones, and not on the planning and zoning commission, right, yeah, the planning and zoning expire June 30th of this year. We do have some that expire June 30th of 2025. Those would be a couple of positions on zoning board of appeals. That would be 3 positions on the construction appeals board, and there is a vacancy on that one. And on the civil service commission, there is 1, and the number of people that don't live in the correct ward, people, let's say, are in planning and zoning, zoning board of appeals, parks advisory board, and the EDC. All have people involved.
And I can go back and look at some of them, like planning and zoning, there's really nothing on that one to vote on, because all of them were through 26.
Right, except for the one who doesn't live in the correct. We can come back to that one.
Yeah.
Right. But for example, on the civil service commission, there is a 1 seat coming up on that on June 30th of this year, and it is totally at large.
Which ones in the EDC are in the wrong?
We have Mitch Macon lives in Ward 2, and he's on there for Ward 4. And Billy Dornbos lives in Ward 2, and he's on there for Ward 3.
And that's what I like to validate, like I said, it was never, when I nominated people before, it was never, they had to be in that.
Yeah,
It was
they
a-
had to be
it was a
nominated by the ward.
Council.
Yeah. Didn't have to be board because
That's what I
well,
consider.
the problem is we didn't have a lot of people that wanted to be on the.
Yeah.
On any of them. I mean, we'd advertise out that we needed them. But we wouldn't get them. Yeah, but that's not a reason to kick somebody off that's already serving either.
When I served in 09 to 11, it was explained to me that, the appointments are ward based. I don't know if something changed since.
Yeah.
But, 16 years ago, it was ward based appointments.
I think that's healthy because then you make sure you have a balance on all these
Oh,
boards
yeah,
and
no,
other appointments from
Yeah.
each ward and city.
No, I
That's what
understand
we
the
get.
healthiness of it, but the problem was we didn't have. There wasn't like a ton of people running out wanting to be on the board. We had to find people and usually it was a search.
You know, I think if the council has to live in the ward that they represent, so shall
There you go.
be the person as well.
I see you up there, Keith. I want you.
Well, no, you said what I was gonna say.
Okay. All right, what's the pleasure of the council to the entirety of here, or do you want to pick one out of there and take
Let's,
any
we
action?
can
on
move
that?
forward. If it causes a lot of heartburn, I may ask for something different on specific.
Okay, the first one is planning and zoning, since that one does directly affect you, you just want to table that one for tonight and revisit it on July 14th.
I'm fine with it.
Just, you know,
Well, planning and zoning,
that's the first one on our list, and there is one person that represents Ward 3 and lives in Ward 1, so that would have directly affected what it's said. Would you want to wait until July? Since that term doesn't even end until June 30th to 26th, you guys want to wait till July 14th?
yeah.
Handle that one.
Yeah.
Okay, any objection from the remainder of council on planning and zoning? Okay, moving along to the zoning board of appeals. We found that there are, again, we have that situation where Ward 4 and the mayor shared one, and then Ward 3 had two of them. So, would the council be okay with the mayor getting the first one of those the first one of those Ward 3 people? The Ward 3 keeps the second one on the list, and then the person down at the bottom is only a Ward 4. So we can keep that. You have no problem with making that one change. Everybody, okay? And in that one, since since the mayor can make an appointment, now, because that term ends June 30th, 2025, for zoning board of appeals. I would like to nominate Ms. Jacqueline Toots for that position. That effective immediately, that would be effective July 1st. July 1st.
I have one as well for, the zoning board of appeals, Mr. Mayor. Effective immediately, I'm appointing, Mr. Robert Klinger to the zoning board of appeals for the Ward 2 position.
And the other three positions for term in June of 2028. The next one was Parks and Rec.
One second, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Robert Klinger, will be able to serve through 6/30 of 2025. Do I need to, also state that for the next term as well?
So if your motion is to have it begin immediately and then through June the 30th of 2020, let's see, first.
It'd be the first term, it'd be 1 year.
It'd be 1 year, so it would be through June 30th of 2026.
Yes.
And that would be the same with mine, that would be through June of 2026, and for catching that, but the first appointment is for a 1-year term. The second term is for a 2-year term, the third term is for a 3-year term, and the fourth term is for a 4-year term on that particular bylaw of that zoning board of appeals. So it's, Jacqueline Toots for the mayor's appointment and Robert Klinger for the Ward 2 appointment.
Yes.
The next one on here is Construction Board of Appeal or Construction Appeal Board. These are all at large. So would you want to wait until the next meeting.
Yes,
Sonner, until you,
yes.
yes, okay, or Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Jones, anything on that one?
I'm fine with that.
We'll come and take that in next meeting, that's the interim city manager and the city, secretary put those back on the agenda. For July 14th. Next one is Parks Advisory Board. We found that, these are actually, one member of council each gets it. That Brandon Shaw is on there for Ward 1, he lives in Ward 4 actually. And Alex Rupp is on there for Ward 2, and he lives in Ward 4. So, Mr. Dukeland, would you want to, put this one off until the next meeting since it affects Ward 1?
Yes.
So we'll put this one on hold for right now.
I have one in Ward 3 and,
It's vacant. Yeah, it is vacant.
I can do that one
You
there.
can do that one right now,
I'm
yes.
gonna put some on the spot, but I know he's interested in the thing. Keith, would you be interested to serve on that board? Yes, sir. Okay, that's my nomination.
So the Parks Advisory Board is going to be. Yes. And, what's that, Mr. John Thompson doing?
Yeah, on the Parks Advisory Board, it's brought to my attention that, Mr. Rupp lives in, Ward 4. It's currently a Ward 2, appointment. But, so with that being said, for the Parks Advisory Board, effective immediately, I'm appointing Ms. Heather Guidry to the Ward 2 position of the Parks Advisory Board to fulfill the current term.
And to everybody's, that is a 3-year term. So these would be, well, actually it'd be Mr. Bass would fill out the term ending January 31st of 2026. And yours would be for the remainder of the term until January 31st, 2027.
That's correct.
It's a January 30th, there are 31 days in January. Okay.
You can, I wouldn't, put, Van Devender in for the parks. There's no need to wait until the next one.
James Van Devon, yes.
But if we're gonna do this, I mean, is there any reason we can't make everything, all these people on here instead of, somebody just a year left to January, all this, let's change everything till the,
Based on what
130
the
and 27. And make it, that way we're not this year and all that, we know it's coming up, whoever's on council.
Well, what's
or based on what the form says there next, whatever the length the form says they have left, whatever we're pointing them to, that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
We don't need to state it every time. Okay.
Right. So it would be the term, for example, for Mr. Van Devender on here, the term ends January 31st, 2026. So it's for the remainder of the term.
Yeah.
For Heather Guidry, that term is January 31st, 2027. So it's the remainder of the time.
Yes.
And Keith Bass is, so it's January 31st, 2026 for the remainder of this term. Okay. All right, that's Parks Advisory Board. And thank you for those who have volunteered to serve on the place. Really appreciate it. Civil Service Commission, that's the next one. These are all at large. There is one that expires June 30th. That's the only one in Board Boston. We'll have a motion on that one.
I'm gonna move to appoint Tom Lee to the Civil Service Commission effective July 1st, 2025.
Well, this is council wide, so it does require a second and then discussion.
Second.
Okay, now we have a motion by Councilmember John and second by Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz to appoint Tom Lee to the Civil Service Commission for a term beginning July 1st of 2025 until June 30th of 2028. Council, is there any discussion on this? Mr. Lee, are you here? Would you come to the podium and maybe just introduce yourself to council so that they know who this fellow is?
Hi, my name is Tom Lee. I
Address, please.
live at 1404 Avenue F. And I've been a police officer since 2005. I've been in law enforcement for 23 years. An arson investigator with Lumberton Fire as a volunteer basis. So I've got many years.
Speak up a little bit.
I've got many years in public service.
Thank you for your interest in, foreign services. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion, council? Hearing none, all in favor of Mr. Conley serving for this 3-year term, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. So Mr. Lee will begin July 1st. And city manager, is there anything that needs to be done for that position since it's established under state law? Is there any sort of training that he needs to take?
I'll have to get with HR director because the HR goes with civil service, and so I'll find out and get back with him.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now the next one on here is the EDC. We have several of these positions where the person, again, is not in the quote unquote correct ward. Mitch Macon is for Ward 4, but lives in Ward 2. And Billy Wayne Boss is for Ward 3, but lives in Ward 2. So that would affect you, since that's a Ward 3 appointment. And Ward 4 would be your mayor pro tem. Did you want to put this one on hold until July 14th? This was on.
So the Ward 3 to have there, I mean, that's a great drop of the first 27.
Right, but if they're living in the incorrect ward, I mean, that's how, if you need to do your research to see if that is you need to do some looking on that one. Because if the bylaws of the charter, let's say, the charter establishing a resolution, ordinance establishing the board requires the person to live in that ward, that would become automatic states. You need a little more time to check that out.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, would you have anything you'd like to do on the Ward 4 one?
I'd like to wait for what Randy.
Okay, very good. We will wait on the EDC ones here. Let's see, so that is, that's the last one. We're going to be doing the infrastructure committee and animal control advisory committee on item based. So, item L, discussion and possible action to approve a final payment and release of retainage for the Leland Swimming Pool rehabilitation / improvements project. Ms. Val.
At the October the 28th, 2024 City Council meeting, Landmark Aquatics presented a report regarding the Nederland Swimming Pool's mechanical system. At the City Council meeting on December the 9th of 2024, City Council approved the state approved contract by board to award the Nederland Swimming Pool Rehabilitation Improvements Project costing $315,800 to be paid from the Parks Special Fund. The scope of the work included demolishing and the existing mechanical room equipment, installing a new horizontal fiberglass filtration system, installing 2 new 15 horsepower pumps with fiberglass strainers, installing a VFD to control the pumps with a flow meter, replacing the existing AccuTab chlorine meter, replacing the existing media cabinet, replumbing the mechanical room, schedule 80 PVC and stainless hardware, installing new water level fill system using existing testing well. Landmark Aquatics, the parent company of Progressive Commercial Aquatics, completed the work on April the 22nd of 2025, which is just prior to the start of the 2025 pool season. A change order in the amount of $6,300 was approved for an acid right pH system, bringing the total project cost to $322,100. A progress payment was made in the amount of $39,262 on May the 15th of 2025, leaving a remaining balance of $282,838. Staff recommends approval. Remaining payment on this project.
Do we have a motion, City Council?
I'll make a motion. Final payment.
Second.
Motion by Dupont, second by Simon. Any discussion? City Council. Any member of the public have a question? Comment? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes, aye also. The ayes have it, pay our bills. Letter G, discussion of possible action to approve amending ordinance number 2020-20. Speed limit for school zone. I didn't speak 3 times there. They do ordinance number 2020-20.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
This city manager.
Attached is an amendment to ordinance 2020-20, which sets speed limits for school zones. The ordinance is amended by adding the item U, which is Seattle Avenue from 175 feet west of South 21st Street to North 18th Street. The location of the new Nederland High School parking lot has entrances and exits onto Seattle Avenue. This section of the street is utilized for school traffic and is directly in front of the school and needs to be designated as a school zone. This requires amending chapter 102-119 of the Code of Ordinances, traffic and vehicles, speed limits for school zones. There will need to be 2 school zones signs added to the section of the street. And if approved, the ordinance full text or descriptive caption or title will need to be published at least twice in the official newspaper of the city due to, it has penalties associated with it. Staff request approval.
Okay, so this would require a second reading for what you're saying.
No, sir, it requires publication.
Publication.
Yes, sir.
Got public notice. I heard, Councilman Dupont, motion to approve.
Yes.
I'll second. Second motion by Dupont, second by Jones. Any discussion, council? Hearing none, any member of the public have a question or comment? Mr. Bass.
Keith Bass, 2415 Avenue E. Mine's not really about the school zone. It's more about 21st, 23rd, and 25th Street. I like to have more stop signs or turn them all into 4 ways. Everybody coming from Avenue H toward Nederland Avenue, going straight to the high school, to Central Middle School, speeds through that neighborhood. Coming through every other street from H to A, they alternate. Either there needs to be more stop signs or they need to turn into 4 ways. Almost got hit on the way here on Avenue A. Somebody blew straight through the stop sign. Not a care in the world, never looked, never let up. So when school starts back up, there's dozens of kids that come walking from Hillcrest up 25th, 23rd, and 21st. People speeding well over 20 miles an hour. I have personally stepped out in front of these vehicles because they don't care about the kids or the women that are walking their dogs or their strollers. So either put some stop signs up, get some more cops out there, cite them, because if it's one of your family members or somebody that gets hit for speeding down those 3 streets, I would feel for y'all. And I don't want to have anybody here who lives in those neighborhoods doing that. We already get people that cut through because they don't want to go down 27th, they don't want to go down Avenue H, and they come zigzagging through the neighborhood. But those 3 streets, there needs to be some attention brought to it.
So you're talking South 21st, South 23rd, South 25th?
Yep, from H to A.
Can we have, maybe you follow up with Ms. Dowd?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, Keith, to this point where each of those streets only has 1 stop sign for that whole distance.
Yep.
You know, one of those streets right there.
It's right in the inner, it's on B, they have them.
Yeah.
D, they'll have them on the opposite, on the next street, it'll be C and E. They just alternate.
Majority of the avenues have a stop sign. Cross streets only have that one.
Yeah.
So even if we just added a set, busted down with the 4 would help.
And increase police control out there.
Yeah.
Okay, but that wasn't directly with this item.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, talk to her. But on the motion that's before us now, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Okay, item number H, discussion and possible action appointing infrastructure committee. Ms. Dowden, did you have anything right up on that?
I did, just briefly, city council's requested that the creation of an infrastructure committee And it can be set up as you wish, but the norm is each council member will have an appointed member of the committee. The purpose is to work with public works, contractors, and city council to see that infrastructure repairs and renovations are being done in accordance with the interests of the citizens and the city council.
All right, who has his appointments ready for this one? I do. You got, did you want to wait for yours until July 14th? I did that. And we can go ahead and appoint. Were you ready to?
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, I think we conversed by email.
Okay. On the infrastructure, my appointment is Angela Finette. I'll go in order here. Brett, who do you have for that one?
My appointment was Curtis Stratton.
Ward 2.
I appoint Mr. Greg Miller.
We'll wait on yours, Randy, till July 14th. And Ward 4.
I'd like to appoint Joe Shipley.
So, these are the appointments, and as I said, on July 14th, next council meeting. Mr. Still, Chris back on the agenda, so Mr. Saunders can make the appointment. That's right. Do you need us to repeat those names?
I have them, Joni, you got them. Okay.
Okay. So infrastructure committee, you're gonna be a liaison between, there's a lot of infrastructure work going on and about to go on, and gonna be going on for quite a while. I'd like for you and everyone here appointing their person, would like for you to be a spokesperson for the citizens, let's say, and work with the city manager and the council, structures, issues, things that are ongoing, and things that need a Band-Aid approach, as well as things that need long-term proper planning. This is a serious committee. These are serious people, and I look forward to working with you all. Any other member council have anything to say about the infrastructure committee? Item number 5, discussion and possible action appointing an animal control advisory committee. Ms. Dalton.
Yes, sir. The Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 823, Section 005, establishes the requirement for the governing body of a municipality with an animal shelter to appoint an advisory committee. The committee's purpose is to assist in complying with requirements of Chapter 823 regarding animal shelters and meet at least 3 times a year. The advisory committee must include a licensed veterinarian, a municipal official, an individual involved in the daily operation of an animal shelter, and a representative from an animal welfare organization. City Council approved the reinstatement of the Animal Control Committee at the June 9th, 2025 meeting. City Council will need to appoint members in accordance with the Texas Health and Safety Code.
Good. The members of this committee at the time it went dormant were Dr. Kathleen Clements, a veterinarian here in Huntington Beach, non-voting member, but the state law requires there to be a veterinarian on this committee. It requires there to be an animal control person, and that's Blaine Burrell. There was already a citizen, I guess you could say, and that was Tony. And there needs to be a city official on this one. Now, everybody else who has volunteered to be on this, my thinking on this, and the rest of council, please chime in, maybe get this thing back rolling. And as it gains a little momentum, other citizens that expressed an interest could be considered at that time. Is there any objection from the council to doing that, or do you like to put others? Or we have a city official to do, but other citizens at this time?
I have no objection.
For the city official, do I have a motion to that would be?
I'm gonna make a motion for, the city official.
The city official in this one, yeah.
Okay. I just want to say my motion. I moved to appoint myself to that board.
That's right, the city official.
City official.
I'll second it. How about that?
Motion and second to add Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz as the city official on this animal, control or animal advisory committee. That's the one thing we're voting on this. Any discussion, council? Okay, putting Mayor Pro Tem to work with the sensitive dogs. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Mayor's, just on one thing to that committee does that to me 3 times a year.
3 times a year, thank you. So as the city official, could you see that that happens? I will, thank you. Any opposed? No. The ayes have it. That committee is back and working, and Mayor Pro Tem, at your call, please support the city manager and keep this committee back rolling. All right. Letter J, discussion possible action relating to residency stipend pay for unrepresented. That goes to the city employees who are not part of the bargaining unit for the fire police. Unrepresented city employees who reside within the boundaries of the city limits of Dallas.
Yes, Mayor, during the June 9th, 2025 city council meeting, staff was directed to gather additional information with regard to the residency stipend pay for non-represented city employees. The human resources director pulled several cities throughout the state. One local city offers residency stipend pay that is for a city that offers $50 per month for non-represented employees living within the city limits. Currently, the city of Nederland has 19 non-represented employees who own their homes and 8 who rent. An estimated cost to provide residency stipend pay based on the $125 per month for those who own and $75 for those who rent. The cost would be $35,700. If this was approved, there would also be a nominal increase to an employee's regular rate of pay in accordance with the Fair Labor Standards Act. Staff is recommending that the handbook language aligns with the language used in the police and the fire contract for consistency and clarity if implemented. If council approves a residency stipend pay for non-represented employees, an amendment to the wage and classification plan will be necessary to reflect this change.
I would entertain a motion right now to get it on the floor. So, as she read it, second, do we have a second? It's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz, second by Councilmember Jones. Now on discussion.
So when we talked about this last time, I didn't see that we clarified it here. We had an issue, husband and wife. What was the outcome of that? We hadn't clarified that.
I don't recall if that's Stephanie maybe here. She's still here.
Stephanie's still here.
There she is.
Yeah, we did discuss it last time. though.
Yes,
Right.
we did.
Discussion about what about married couples who both work for the city, both live in the city or rent?
Yes, that was one of the questions. We do have a fireman that lives in the city, but he also is married to someone outside the fire department. So will we pay double the stipend for that? And that was one of the questions we had. Of course, outside the city limits, the Maryland address. Okay, that was fine.
Yeah, live in the city.
And of course, how much the cost fee would be something we would need to decide on. And I think it was the Orange City of Orange, not Ridge City.
Okay.
And theirs was $50 a month, I believe. And just to kind of the way we treated it, we like to treat it the same way as we do the police and fire departments as far as proof of residency, just so it's consistent for the payroll and HR department. So.
My thinking on a husband and wife that both work for the city and live in the city, they get separate paychecks, so maybe you each get this.
And that made me think, if you have a parent with a child that live on, they both work for the city, I'm assuming you would treat it the same way. Because we do, we have an employee that works for the city that would live with a parent that also works for a city. We've had unique situations like that in the past as well.
At least my thinking on it is they get separate paychecks, they would each.
Those are the things, those are all the questions we have for.
All wage and hour investment.
Wait, you were just saying that if a parent works for the city and they have a child that lives with them that works for the city, that they both get the stipend?
That's my question.
Yeah, I kind of question that one because the kid's not paying rent or paying for the house. I think once they own the home or rent, then they get it, but if they're living in the same house with their parents.
I think
It might be useful to the parents to get the kid out of the house too.
I think if they're a city employee, I think they get a check, they get that as well.
And in that situation, does the parent own the house? Maybe we would have it that the child in that situation would get the renters.
Right. Level, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And maybe, like the councilman said, maybe it's an incentive for them to get out and buy a house.
Not a moment up there for
Ride the gravy train. Okay. Okay, is there any other discussion on this item, council?
I'll just say an employee is an employee, whether you live with your mom and dad or live by yourself.
Glad to see it. I was looking around, see a lot of other cities are offering this incentive, and I think we were a little behind, with our employees. So glad we had this, on the agenda.
And it would be uniform with our policy on fourth police and fire. Well, I've heard differing opinions about the person, the one situation, I believe it was with the parent and the child. Well, I heard some say, one gets owner, one gets rent rate, and then another situation, both will get the owner rate. Was that what you were leaning toward, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I'm leaning toward that if an employee of the city gets their own check and they live with mom and dad or by themselves, they get what they get.
Would they get the renter's share?
No, they get whatever the owner. It's not about renting or owning a home, but living.
No, but that's the way we differentiate it.
Is
If
that
they rent an apartment, they get 75.
That's how police
If they own a
department
house,
is.
Yeah.
they get 100.
So if his father's the captain and the firefighter, their son's a firefighter, his wife or daughter's a firefighter, that's how their contract reads.
They both get the 125?
Is that how it reads?
I don't know.
No, they don't. If they rent, they get one rate. If they own,
Well, I
they get
understand that. I understand.
But right.
But in the contract in the police and fire, that's not in there because we don't typically employ relatives within the department, but now we're branching out. So I just want to know for payroll purposes, how I direct it.
For people in that situation.
Yeah. And then you have a married couple, so that would be.
And a married couple.
Mayor, my recommendation, just if you're gonna have the two different classifications, then you just have to submit some proof of ownership, which is pretty easy. It's just a deed, right? Or some legal authorization for that. And if you can't do it, then it would default back to you being a legal surveyor.
Okay with that? Yeah. Okay. So as fleshed out, if you live in the city, you're a city employee, work for the city, own the home with proof of ownership, you get the 125 a month. And that would be for a married couple, if they both own the house, obviously, they would each get the 125. Yeah, otherwise, if they show a rental agreement or that they're living with mom and dad in that one situation, they would get 75. Agree, everybody cool with that? Sure. Council. Yeah. Any discussion by do you have that?
I have it. So 125 and then 75 for the child.
Right.
But if you're married, both of you get the 125.
Right.
Correct. Okay.
And it would vary, it would affect the regular rate of pay if there's an overtime situation, but that's just any.
Okay.
All right, any discussion about it with any citizen? Hearing none, and would this take effect immediately or July?
We started at the first of the month or.
The first one, that's what I mean, July.
We were to do it now.
The handbook and bring that back.
Started with the new one. The new budget year
Not
started with the new
I
budget.
send you a budget.
New budget year, new budget.
All right, basic presidents, all rates get changed in the book and all that.
In one, effective 10.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
any citizen, okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, the ayes have it. Item K, discussion and possible action regarding the hiring of a forensic auditing firm. Ms. Young, did you have anything on this?
I have just a write-up where, three proposals were received from three.
Can you speak into the microphone?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The city received three proposals from, three, forensic auditing firms, county firms, Bailey, Digital Forensics, and Baker Tilly. They vary their price, they vary in price, they're based on complexity of issues to include both the city and the New England Economic Development Corporation. E. Bailey has hourly rates from $250 to $450 with a not to exceed price of $69,500. Digital Forensics has a two-phase approach, and their phase one approach is $6,000 to $18,000 without a price on the phase two. So they determine if it's necessary before then go further. Baker Tilly, they have three different phases: planning, forensic and internal controls review, and phase three, final reporting. Their recommended look back period is 3 years. Their fee structure ranges from the low end of $48,000 to the high end of $78,000 with a 4-month time frame for completion.
I'll speak first from this council. I spoke to all the people from these companies. I spoke to 5 companies, only 3 offered these proposals. I think that the final one, Baker Tilly, they gave us by far the most detailed on how they would work it, and even the personnel who would be on the team. So my recommendation is Baker Tilly.
That was the 48 to 70,000.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of money.
None of them are cheap. None of them are cheap. It's always the first one was 69. Yeah, the first one was 69,000.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
Not that steep. And not that, so we don't.
And the other one was kind of sneaky.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll hook you for 16 and then we're gonna get you for 100.
Yeah. That's kind of how.
They only was 16.
Yeah, fine. Tomorrow might be 8.
That's kind of how I took it.
I agree with, Mayor. I think Baker Tilly gave us a lot of information.
Oh, I agree. It's just a lot of different money.
Yeah. No, I agree. And they gave us a timeframe. Baker Tilly, their scope will include, the cities and the EDC or just.
Yeah, all of them including.
All of them, yes.
All of them.
And I'm following Baker Tilly. I think they're a very strong little thing. I would almost like to put a not to exceed of 70,000. So we have something in the protective shop there, and it puts it a whole lot closer to the person with a David Bailey about it.
I'm comfortable with that.
I'd like to see, I mean, we've got some specific things we're trying to look at, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Can we get a focused audit on those specific things at a cheaper price? I understand the concept. Yeah, I understand the concept of looking at everything, but if looking at everything costs 70 and focusing on one area costs us 20, I'm all for that.
Yeah, Cheryl had Ms. Dowd had some, as an accountant, she told me some helpful information earlier today about that. Ms. Dowd, could you answer?
So the city is currently, by state law, has to have an independent audit. City council has to approve the auditor to come in. They go in and they review internal controls. These are controls that prevent fraud. Each year we get an independent audit with management items, corrections, things that will help prevent potential fraud or loss of funds. So,
There was one where you said, most of them, will go in and look for a representative sample.
right,
Yes.
an independent
Opposed to
auditor.
everything.
Right, an independent auditor will look at a sampling of transactions to determine if you're following your internal controls. If you're not, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
There's a problem. I have not done a forensic audit, so I don't know the depth that they will look into it. But, I have had plenty of,
Yeah, we've gone through,
Thirty.
six years now, so we've done it every year. for
oh yeah,
years.
it's every
The
year.
EDC and
Have
the,
we ever
and the
had a
city.
forensic audit in the city, in the
No.
city's history?
A forensic
No, but it's
audit.
a controls audit.
Right, a forensic audit is a little different. A lot of times they're called to investigate specific transactions, like we're talking about a focus. They conduct a comprehensive audit of an organization's financial records to identify areas of risk or potential fraud. It's supposed to gather evidence that can be used to support legal action if there's fraud. Let's see, also it allows the organization to take corrective action to prevent future fraud. Let's see, that's about it. But it's a lot more in depth than an regular internal audit.
So let me ask a question then, if we want to do a good audit, it's not a low dollar amount. Does it make sense to take those items that are least possible fraud that we do every year and take that out of the scope and let them look at the other items that have a higher potential? Yeah, I'm just asking different questions on the thing.
Why not?
You seem to want to see it for years, so, we need to do the full on all of that. But
You'll be auditing my books.
Yeah.
So
What about like credit cards? And
if the council wishes, they can give them a focus. Because I feel like there's some things that will feel like maybe need to be looked at more than others.
In the 6 weeks you and I have been working closely together, learning more every day about, a previous person who held your role, centralized all decision-making in him, not even his office, him. No one else knew what was going on. He's now left after 16 and a half years.
and that's the things we need to be looking at.
Right.
That's exactly what I was
I'm being
saying.
on the day-to-day and the ones that are the things that the sheriff has control, and our county group has control, and our audit we do every year doesn't have an issue with it, then I want to focus on the big things there.
And entities that might have taxpayer money and don't have a standard operating procedure on how to give that money out. Things of that nature would be the focus of a forensic audit. And then the credit card use, things like that as well.
That would, I always thought that would have been under your control, so. Your credit card.
It is, but I think we have been, we have now working to
I got
strengthen those controls.
I got you.
We had a discussion about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to, hire Vector Tilly, not to exceed 78,000 with a council focused approach or scope, for the scope of work.
I would like us to see if we can get a cheaper rate for a focused audit before we approve $7,000.
What was your number in there, Mayor Pro Tem?
It was up to, not to exceed 78,000.
We say 70.
No, I'm saying, no.
I said seven.
I'm saying find out what a more focused audit's gonna cost. Don't give them 70, because once you tell them 70,
Yeah,
they're gonna get to 70.
69,990.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Lower the speed limit, 60.
It's like when I buy something that's $1,000, but it was $9.99, I said, well, it's less than 1,000.
I think with the focus scope, might be able to get something probably a little cheaper.
Yeah.
So my motion just stands as is, as for,
Not to exceed.
78,000 with the city council scope of work.
So are you recommending, just want to understand what you're saying, that as many of us work with them, on council, work with them as possible without violating open meetings act?
That's correct. That's correct.
We could have a rotating two or whatever, doing that would violate. With the city attorney, is that something, to have an executive session? Would that be a proper use of executive session?
To meet with the auditor.
Yes,
I mean, there's security audits, but just for financial ones, to my knowledge.
okay, thank you. Just wanted to hear.
Yeah, unless there was a legal aspect to it that you needed advice from a counselor on, but
Maybe. There might, that's right, there might be. Depends on what we find, what they find.
I'm gonna second your motion.
Okay. And if, when I talk to these people, I will put one of y'all on the phone with us. There won't just be me and Ms. Dowd to talk with them. She's a CPA, she can give some of the nuances and all, but that would be my approach, that myself and Ms. Dowd, maybe one of y'all would be involved in the call with them. I'll put that in there as well, so that's a friendly amendment. Accepted. All right. Any other discussion on this question? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. And I'm gonna be out of town beginning tomorrow, but, whoever wants to work with me, I'm gonna send me your schedule and I'll try to set up all these people. I'll give you one. Good. All right, now we have unfinished business, letter A, discussion regarding the culvert cleanup progress. Ms. Dowd, you have something on this one?
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council, I've got copies of the map that Mr. Lancaster prepared that shows the ditching, progress as well as the, culvert cleaning process. And he's here if you have any questions.
That's one, Council.
Was that in the packet?
It is not in the packet.
It wasn't, we just got got the second one this morning.
Yeah, we have the maps up on the screens though.
I do have extra copies, a few copies I can share.
So this is the, which map is this?
Yes, sir, this is the,
Ditching.
yes, sir.
Okay, and everybody, if, this is done by wards, of course. This is looking north. So this is Canal, this is Helena, this is Nederland Avenue, this is, the Twin City, and this is, 27th Street. So Nederland Avenue south, and it looks like where most of it goes up.
I had a question really before we get into it, Mr. Lancaster.
Yes,
About details. I received a map today from the city manager. And it's different than this map in that we've got a little bit more red in Ward 2, and I'm looking at yellow on the Ward 2 on this. Is there any difference in that, or is that just a technical error maybe here?
Probably is a technical area. I'm not sure what you're showing there.
Well, it's red on your document, but on this document, it's showing on that one.
Showing yellow here.
So just a quick question for clarification. Right here at Gary Avenue, it's highlighted yellow.
Oh,
That hasn't been done.
no, those are just streets, I guess.
Okay.
It popped up like that when I created it.
I looked at a bridge and I'm almost out, that may be part of the scope.
Maybe so.
That's the
It's
still
just
working
the,
version, the actual.
Yeah, everything is, we'll call it red or color there.
Yeah, dark red.
Fix up in this point.
Like a solid.
Yes, it's solid red.
All south of Nederland Avenue for right now.
Yes,
So that's a good reflection with the red right now.
that is correct.
What is complete? Okay, but I had some questions about the other side of Nederland Avenue. I've checked some of these.
Yeah, so basically, even though this is yellow right here, these are red, these mean they're done.
That is correct.
These highlighted ones right here are not done
No,
yet. Okay.
it's the white shape of
That looks great.
but it is, I apologize, appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
And this is the ditch digging by the contractors.
That is correct.
So I thought they wanted to highlight it ordinance. Kind of confusing as well. There's this street right here, has no ditches, that has no system.
Right.
So do the highlighting.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
That's perfect.
my streets have no ditches, it's all.
I'm sorry, everybody, next time.
Put a highlight on it, and I was like, yeah.
Fix that for you next time around, sorry about that.
Did I misunderstand when it came up? Maybe I missed it, but I'm sorry.
Are we digging in Ward one with the contractors or not?
What?
Are we digging ditches in Ward one with the contractors or not?
No, sir, nothing, well, just a little bit of Ward one we had, basically from 12th Street, going back towards, 69. Okay, just a little bit there, yes, sir.
Okay, but the contractors are digging ditches in Ward four and Ward, three, correct?
4 and 3,
That's what the contractors
they
say?
have approximately about 6 or 7 streets left.
Why are the contractors in Ward one though?
They were on the list first time out.
So who authorized Ward one to be done?
It was in the list turning to council at the time.
It shouldn't have been. Ward one is not part of the agreed contract. It's only Ward three, Ward, three and Ward four.
Yes.
From
Yeah,
what I
if I remember right.
from that meeting. Which brings up the point of, are we doing, are we monitoring these guys every day to be sure that the job is being completed based upon the contract?
That is correct, yes, sir.
So we are, so we missed the fact that these guys are in Ward one, correct?
Yes, sir, they were on our list, sir. I can send out a copy to, Ms. Dowling to confirm that.
So those ditches were on the list in the bid, it just, we
Yes,
had
sir,
a
that's
statement
correct.
of Ward one and
I will
three.
confirm that for you
Even
tomorrow.
Can you confirm that who gave you that instruction? That's, to me, that was not in the contract, or shouldn't have been in the contract.
Mr. Ortiz, I said I would confirm that tomorrow for you.
Appreciate that.
You bet.
Any other member of council have a question about this map?
Yeah, so the bottom of the map there that just got covered up by that, there it is. These lighter colored areas are on the scope to be done. So the bottom half of the bottom quarter of the map.
Actually, the lighter spots on this over here are actually
Yeah, don't-
don't even have.
I'm sorry, but do not look at the highlighted part down.
Okay,
there.
there's the
We got-
dark red.
We got 36 to do, 37.
Yeah.
29, Hill
Park
Terrace.
Street, Hill Terrace, this whole section over here.
Those, nothing on that side there.
It's highlights now, yeah.
Okay.
I want to look at that.
That corner, yes, some of that.
Yes.
Have a little bit left in Avenue D, 29th would be just west, 27th Street. Get that section there, a little bit piece of, 33rd Street to do, Avenue H to Harding. So we're about 75, 80% complete. About 7th Street or so left to do in the first phase.
And we do have city with following these guys, making sure.
Yes, sir, throughout the day we do, yes, sir. It's not full time all the time, because we're all blowing and going.
I noticed some of the streets over there that would be Ward 4, off of, in between Hardy and Highway 69. It looks some of the ditch digging, it was about that deep, and I'm sure
Yes,
it's
sir.
about 4 inches.
Right.
What's up with that?
Well, some places you don't need a full ditch, I guess you would say, a foot to 2 foot, size ditch. Cause you might be at the high point of the ditch itself, going down to a low point. So it might be 6 inches they dug out. They're shooting grades in the field as they go. Yes, sir.
And it varied on either.
It varied.
It varied on either
Yes, sir.
side of where it was being dug, and I don't think that was the high point. I was just questioning some of the depth of some of those.
Yes, sir.
But you're following up with quality control, you said.
That is correct, sir. Myself and my.
I would presume everything should be dug down to at least the base of the culvert.
Not necessarily, sir, because all the covers are not on the proper grade elevation.
Okay, that was my second question.
Yes, sir, because my crew have told me throughout the years, people call and do, set in pipes, and not all set accordingly, nor the male end or female of the pipe is set the right direction either. So if you go out and look, well, that pipe should be pointed this way, that's going downhill on the flow. That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
The ditch grade shelf should be on the proper grade to flow the ditch. Yes.
Mr. Bass, I assume you have a question?
Yes, I do. Yes, sir.
It seems like
You'll
we're
get to
just,
the microphone if you would, Keith.
So it seems like we're wasting money. If we're just coming through with a spoon digging a ditch, it's only 4 inches and you got a 12-inch culvert. Why are we paying someone to come dig 4 inches when you got a 12-inch culvert? My ditch this way the whole time. Two members up here have been by my house and seen the ditch. I have plenty of pictures. There is no grade shooting. There is no slope. Water sits there. When's the last time we rained here? 4 days ago? Water's still in my ditch. Mosquitoes all in my yard.
And what street are you on?
Avenue E,
Between which street and which? street?
25th and 23rd. Culverts have not been blown out. I went around the other day, took pictures, and I can email them all to y'all. The streets I mentioned earlier, 21st through 25th, H to A. These ditches look like garbage. I don't know who's being accountable, if there is no QC. Randy can contest to this. If you don't have a QC, supervision needs to be there. Make time. That's your position, that's your job, that's your duty, that's your title. You don't have time, find a lead man. Every street that went from across Avenue A, when it got done, QC supervisor, somebody came out there and said, okay, that's good, go to the next one. We went vertical and then horizontal. Then we're jumping over to other streets, other wards. It was mentioned that only 3 and 4 were getting done in the initial process. Then we would go to the other wards. If we're not digging the ditches to the bottom of the culverts, why are we digging the ditches? If we're not sloping them and grading them to get to DD7, why are we digging ditches? Everybody keeps talking about transparency and money just getting thrown away. I'm not hearing any reason from anybody why we're doing this, except, oh, it's getting done. I know y'all, I know my time's almost up.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to C that Ms. Shipley likes to call monstrosity. Everything was pumped out and overflowed their moat back into that ditch they just dug out. Filled up again. I'm concerned about it because that's my ward. I got a business in this ward. I got my house in this ward. I have friends that live in this ward. That area just holding water and dumping water, and now that filling that ditch back up. Are we gonna go back and redig it just a couple inches or to the bottom of the culvert?
They filled up the ditch and.
So can we go to the next one, there, because the other one will be there.
Yeah, the other one's just the culvert.
Yeah, it says it got culvert too, but it's not.
Hey, I just want to make a point. I have a hard stop at 8. I'm going to be walking out at 8.
Okay.
But the question I have, when you do a double check, the purple mark on there is what culvert's been blown out.
Then filled back up.
Yes. Hang on.
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
don't interrupt.
Avenue E, where he's talking about, has not been done, but we're showing it complete on that map right there.
Yes. Yep.
So we need to find out, is that truly done or not, and why we show it's done, if the culverts haven't been done, so we need to have that check.
And then when were we shooting grade on it? Because whenever they're dragging their little spoon across, instead of digging forward like they should be, to have a slope, instead of just a straight fall to where if somebody's out there cutting their grass, it's just gonna fall in. We're not doing anything right. Has anybody read that contract since our last meeting I asked about? To see if they can come back and redig it without it being a cost to us.
When I pulled up, from that meeting with the development on iPad, didn't show a contract, it showed a quote. And it just showed the addresses or the street that they were digging. So
Total linear feet in the streets.
So the city agreed with a third party to come dig ditches for X amount of money with no accountability. That's what I'm being told right now.
That's what I'm seeing on my iPad. I did not see a contract.
What month did we enter this contract?
He said there is no contract.
Or what month did we enter this agreement?
last year.
Last year?
No.
No, that's third quarter, something like that. It came after we did the budget meetings in July.
I was thinking it was a little later, earlier in this calendar year is what I was thinking, that to get this.
I think that's not what I pulled up with Mark thing all of this year.
March 24.
But budget in July.
Or 19.
So again, without me being too critical and not trying to attack y'all, again, there's no contract. It was approved to give somebody money to do a said job. that no one's being accountable for, and we're just checking off paper and highlighting stuff and, hey, it's done. Who is taking accountability for this? Because if we're gonna keep wasting money, we're gonna waste it somewhere else.
We're gonna need a copy of this contract.
I'll find them for you.
If there isn't a contract, we gotta get.
So all the, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And my last thing, you said that we've shot grade and we've done slopes, but we can't go so far because we're at a certain elevation. So if I have a ditch that has a 12-inch culvert and I've only got 3 inches visibility, what's gonna help me in my situation when it rains, when that water doesn't flow through because the ditch not done? My house is flooded twice. I know y'all heard me say it. If it happens again, I'm not gonna be friendly about it.
You know, allow me to look at the foundation for your question.
Yes, sir. As I mentioned before, the contractors are shooting the grades out in the field as they go. And if this gentleman here has an issue, please call our office. So we go out and investigate. If we need to regrade the ditch, it's going to be upon the contractor itself. If you have any pictures, anything, but please contact our office. We'll be glad to go out and check it and see. There will be a final punch list at the end with the contractors. Anything else for them?
I sent Ms. Dowden some pictures on Wednesday, June 11th. It was in the South 35th and Avenue A, Avenue B, Avenue C. Did you forward those to Public Works, Ms. Dowden?
Yes, sir, I usually do. Find out.
And that's why I was questioning the depth of those ditches. And then there was still water standing in many portions of these ditches that had just been dug. And if it's been shot on grade, water is supposed to flow, you know, including seeing 2 culverts less than I would say 6 feet apart, and water was just still sitting in between the 6 feet of ditch between those 2 culverts. Looks like they had nowhere to go. So I do question the grade shooting that's being done, at least in that portion that I'm seeing.
Well, I agree with that area, but I've also had some areas that's been posted on social media where it has improved. Must be make sure it's improved in the whole city.
Correct. We have 40 masters.
So before we move on real quick, want to make just a comment, 2 comments really. I want to thank the city employees for going out on overtime on the weekend and flushing out these pipes. I've seen them working. They had 3 trucks out, from what I understand. I appreciate that. My question is, on that note, when was this map updated? Because we have 3 teams going out, culverts, which started, 2 weeks ago, I guess.
No, so we've been going on culverts for a while.
Okay.
I just generated this map. I think it was today. Is that right? So based on what requested, but yes, we've been going on culverts for a little
I
while.
appreciate that. So the 3 teams that have gone out, that's what they've done.
Yes, so that area right there, you're correct.
Where were they this past weekend? Do you know? The 3 teams?
They were working on 13th Street, South 13th, I believe, and also possibly South 12. I think it was 13th.
Because I know the area on Ward 4 in my district, that was done 2 weekends ago. And I didn't see any more roads completed this past weekend, I guess. So they focused on Ward 2 and Ward 1 this past weekend, I said.
Yes, sir. And I have an extra crew. I normally would put him over there.
Like I said, I appreciate you guys doing that. on the weekends.
Honestly, folks, if there's any issues that you see out there, please give us a call at the office and we'll go out and investigate. And if I need to contact the contractor, we'll come back out and maybe
So-
reshoot the grade or whatever.
I'm getting a lot of complaints out off of Bitterboat Road, Holmes Road, not Holmes. Over, well, quite frankly, by Ms. Toops' house on Ford. A lot of complaints out there of flooding, culvert maybe, ditches maybe, in every comment that I receive, I've got a lot while I'm on vacation in Mississippi past week. Those citizens out there are telling me it's getting worse and worse. They've never seen it like this. It's getting worse. And the same thing out over, all over in my ward. All I hear is worse and worse. So I understand y'all working hard, but if budget, we're gonna need to look at more resources, maybe more manpower, I don't know, but I live, you know, I'm having the same problem most of the people are having that, but nobody knows it. And, we need to get this finished. I don't know how, I don't know what it's gonna cost, but we've got to do something yesterday. So,
You do it well.
yes.
Mr. Lancaster, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this. As we stand right now, do you feel like the department has the tools and resources it needs for the scope and the amount of the culverts that need to be blown out?
Well, don't talk about proactive of the last meeting, putting together the crew each day, 2-person crew, to continue blowing out these culverts in these areas. In the afternoons, are working from 3 to 5:30 and on the weekends when weather permits. So for the contractor, last Thursday, he came in and, they have 2 crews that they normally run when they do work like this, and they can't keep up. I mean, even with 2 crews. Because you're looking at probably, I think Robin mentioned about 1,300 driveways. Not every driveway needs to be blown out. Some are a lot worse than others. Some may be 6 to 8 inches deep with mud, and some may be 2 or 3 inches of something with nothing. It just all depends. It's a slow process sometimes, and sometimes they go pretty good. So, I mean, we're looking at, renting another piece of equipment, Mr. Jones, and it's pretty expensive. And who would work the other equipment would be our guys. So pulling 2 more people off the crew of 8 that have total, that puts us down pretty slim to take care of all the other needs of the citizens in Nederland. So, I'm not sure we'd like to have more personnel, but, I'm sure we're pretty in the crunch with money to do so.
I'm gonna, I've already told the interim city manager this, and I wanted to, and I know she's sending it out. In years past, you may have been told what you could ask for. I want you to ask for what you need to serve the people of this city. I don't want, this is not a time for, well, in the past, I've been told to always ask for this amount when this amount is needed.
Yes.
Please give me truth in, advertising.
Sure. I agree.
I just wanted to ask that question because, you know, I want to make sure that the right tools are in place for success. Because there's a lot of frustration right now. I don't know if anybody thinks.
It's very tough, even on our part, trying to meet the needs. You know, schedule around all the extra needs that come in, and you folks bring in some extra stuff as well. I mean, it's hard to keep up, to be honest. So.
I get a lot of emails every day.
Yeah,
I think you end up getting most of them through Cheryl, so.
I see a citizen waiting patiently behind Mr. Lancaster. Come on forward, Ms. Shipley.
No, there's mine. I've called it in 3 times. I've put it on Facebook. I've emailed it to everybody, and now it's in writing.
So you've been served.
Not yet.
All right, any other member of council have anything on this agenda item or citizen? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all, Pastor. And unfinished business item D, discussion regarding sewer rain event issues. Ms. Galvin?
Yes, sir. Staff was asked to, provide some information about, the work that the, water and sewer distribution department does before, during, after a weather event, that Barry Burn was here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yes.
Discussion regarding sewer rain event issues. Do you have anything to report?
I mean, what's the question?
The information was asked, what do you do? I mean, what does your department do during rain events, before, during, and after the rain events?
Before
Right.
the event, we try to keep the lines clean. We have a cleaning schedule that we go through. We clean the problem areas. Now, during the rain event, once the water's in the line, while the line is charged up with water, there's nothing we can do but wait. And I know it sounds it's not the great answer, but we cannot add any more water to flushing or to stop the line. So yes, we do wait until the rain goes down, until the plant can catch up with the overload or rain water that's in the system. And then after, if there's any overflow, any overflow reports that we report, we go in, we go around. And we clean those areas up after we turn in the report. And we try to watch those and try to see if we can relieve those, but like right now, it's a lot of them.
And the rain events recently have been, less than 2 inches on one particular day. I believe that was May the 30th. It was between about 2.5 to 3 inches on, a week ago or so, the 16th, thank you. What were the crews doing? And the rain fell, somewhat, in a short period of time. It was on the May 30th, it was about an hour and a half or 2 hour length of time. And what was the duration on June 16th? Approximately.
Somewhere about 4.5 and some areas of that. Underpass under going, Walmart was underwater and. That day, so I mean, it was pretty down.
I think a microphone, maybe you got together correctly. Okay. Any member of council have a question?
Yeah, I have some questions that this may or may not be more start. I had a citizen reach out to me that lives on 400 block at North 36th. They said they saw 811 coming out and put markers all the way down their street. Is that anything to do with?
That might be for the ditching.
Ditching?
Yes.
That's for the gas lines. You'll see yellow stripes all over the neighborhood, Keys neighborhood, different ones. They put the yellow flags out. They're not busting it out for gas lines.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all over the city.
Well, that 100 block is all curb and gutter.
Somebody's getting another gas line changed out or something. But that's, if they're doing 811, it's been gas line repair.
Yeah, it's not just us. That's calling us locates in. I can't, I don't know who called us locates in.
Okay.
Any other member of council?
Yeah, so on Friday the 13th, we had a weather event. Heavy rain was coming down, obviously, and so what's our stance as a city when after hours, when we have weather coming in and it's pouring down rain, do we deploy teams out?
Well, there is a person that's on call.
Yeah, one person.
Yeah, one person. I mean, once the rain is infiltrated in the system, y'all can wait until the plant to catch up and process it and release it. I mean, once the line is full, you can't do any digging.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the issues that we have, but what is our plan when the rain is coming and we know we're having issues, because we know we're gonna have issues, that's not gonna change right now. What do? We just let our on-call guy drive all over the city for hours to figure out what's going on?
No, he's not figuring out what's going on. He's answering the complaints of the customers that call in.
So is one guy enough for all the calls?
Well,
during the day?
I mean, we don't get maybe about 10 calls or whatever, 10 or 15 calls. It depends on the rain event. If it does get bad and he needs help, we do send someone to help him with the call.
So is it possible that we can watch the weather, maybe Greg Boswick, and see if maybe, hey, we'd be proactive and get, hey, if the on-call guy, hey, we have we're gonna have 2 inches of rain, or even an inch of rain.
Yep.
That causes flooding. Is it possible that we could afford to offer another on-call person to help with customer service? And, because obviously one person isn't enough. Now, well, 2 people are enough. We have so many issues in the city that we need to be proactive. Our community wants to see proactiveness, not reactiveness. And we need to start planning for these events. We can watch the news, see what's going on. If it's gonna rain, 5% of rain is gonna flood us, guys, period. It is. So we need to be proactive. And, as a city council, we have that responsibility to our citizens to be sure that, through the city manager's office, that we are doing that. And, I'm tired of hearing that every time we meet, I'm gonna say it again. I'm not gonna sit up here for 3 years hearing the same stuff. Not gonna do it. So we need to be proactive. And, again, I thank the city employees, but we've got to start changing our culture. And, that, if one on-call guy is what we've done for 50 years, well, let's do 2. And that's what I have to say.
Any other member of council?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let Alexander go first.
Yeah, I even maybe look a step farther, look at possibly some Wednesday through Sunday, type schedules, where you're taking half of your crew working Wednesday through Sunday the next week, the other ones are working another week. And it rotates around where every 2 weeks, that person gets a 4-day weekends that they're off. So it's some different shift things that the economies have done in the past, but it allows you to split your crews. So if you have a 10-man crew, for example, you always got 5 working, and they're working 7 days a week, but it splits up the crew. So something to look at, versus I can leave Boswick, it's gonna rain 6 inches today and I go play golf all day. Or it's gonna be a gorgeous day and I'm swimming. So I'm gonna look at some different options there to have more people manning it as well.
Councilman Jones?
Yeah, in the last meeting, Ms. Dowd, it was presented, I believe we had, was it 700 foot of 8-inch pipe or 6-inch sewer pipe and like 10 manholes that we've been able to get any type of, I mean, that's obviously something like that would be amended. Do we have any type of, we're still working on that?
That, I believe, for the work in the western section.
That's what that's for, yes, that's what that's for.
Right, I think Mayor and I spoke, with Mr. Woods and Mr. Burns. The concern having city crews do it is the length of time that it would take versus having an engineering consulting firm going out and designing and bidding the work, which would be a lot quicker. They have all of the equipment, they have the manpower, and so on and so forth. What he reported was, my understanding was just for that major work in the western section.
20% of that smoke test that we have done, that we have done already.
Right.
It'd be tough for us to go out and lay 1,000 foot of pipe. If you have your whole crew doing nothing with that, they're not available for the rest of the city.
One more thing,
Yeah,
Mayor.
go ahead.
I'm almost to the point to where council authorizes city employees who work in these departments to give us some feedback on what's going on in the field. Because, we're not out there, supervisors aren't out there most of the time. The guys are out there working in the field, they know what's going on. I think we're almost to a point to where, hey, let's talk to some of these people that are working these issues and see what they're saying and hear from them, because, we're gonna be at this all night long. And our employees are out there night and day and night, working their tails off. They see these issues. But I think they could also help steer the ship a little bit.
Boys usually know how to do their job the best.
I think if we look at the big picture of it, through the years, we've been the thing to be lean as we can, and we're too lean.
Yes.
Our city has grown, we don't have the bodies to take care of it.
Any citizen has anything to say about this agenda item?
I do.
Come on. Figured you would, I asked you anyway.
Done my best to be quiet tonight. The things that
Name and
you're,
address.
Jolie Shipley, 8765 Holmes Road and 1436 Avenue F and 1119 Jackson. So I span the precincts, the wards. I have a concern about the infrastructure, and I appreciate the nomination to the committee. My concern tonight is that what you've been reported in the city reports and the departmental reports are half of the story. I expect you guys to do a great job, and I don't know that you can do it with half the information. I had reported to TCEQ back in April, the toilet paper, tampon, and turd overflow on the corner of South 36th and Avenue L. I understand and have talked to both the direct manager as well as the investigator for that, Chad Townsend. And I got my letter the day after the big rain. And it said that in that letter, because I reported it as such a serious concern, it was that the city was contacted immediately back in April and told, hey, you have a big problem on 36th and L. And by the time they got out, that was on a Thursday, by the time TCEQ got out the following Tuesday, there was no sign whatsoever of toilets, tampons, and turds. And so they closed it out and said there's no problem. And I've got all the video and all the footage from Thursday to Tuesday. What the city did is they came out, they counted the tampons with me in the bottom of the storm sewer. It's not in the sewer system, it's in the storm sewer. And they knew it was there. And then Barry and the other guys in this department went out, pulled up the cedar tree on the corner, and put a bunch of sand over the poo-poo. So the poo-poo's in the yard, but it's now buried under sand like a dog or cat would. And that was good enough. And everybody was happy with that and nothing happened. They didn't fix anything. And then whatever day it was, Friday ago, we get the rain again. And I go out, and if you haven't seen my Facebook page, go check it because it's public. But by the time I saw it shooting out, it was only shooting out about 9 to 12 inches tall, like a fountain, out of the sewer system. So it's not out of the stormwater, it's out of the sewer system. And I understood when I called it in at 7 o'clock that night, that Mayor Pro Tem Ortiz had called it in about 5:30 or 6. I couldn't get a supervisor, I couldn't get anybody but a guy in the rain that said, yep, it's overflowing. Now, what happened the first time is they went and flushed the system on Monday, so they got everything to go downstream, so there was no evidence. But then it turns out this time when I call it in, they get out there and they're now seeing it. TCEQ has got some reports you guys might want to look into. Problem is our city, in your report that they're giving you each month, is not telling you about the number of violations. And the TCEQ is getting these reports in Austin only, and our city was messed up and we were not reporting it correctly. So I have a problem with that, getting someone out to fix it. They just keep saying, oh, it quit raining now. The second thing is that the rain that came this past week, I called the after hours number. Yes, where it went. The call actually goes to Mr. Mitchell, who claimed to be at the water department, and Mr. Mitchell could not reach a supervisor.
What day was that?
That was Monday night. This past week, Monday night. So Monday week ago, when I called and I asked for a supervisor, Mr. Mitchell was very polite, was very diligent, talked to him, I think 3 times, could not get me a supervisor, finally got me an on-call worker that showed up sometime later who was also very nice. And I understand Mr. Sonier helped intervene on our behalf as well. And so I appreciate that. But that was a bit of a nightmare. But nothing's changed.
Ms. Dowden, we've heard from this concerned citizen many times. Is there a fix in the foreseeable future?
Yes, I'm going to talk with the Public Works Director and get an expedited price or fee, because I've been told that he's contacted an engineering firm to try and get the bid to where they can do the design work. And then we'll have to bid it out. So I thought it should be forthcoming very soon, but I will check and find out.
We have houses where it's consistently, properties where it's consistently documented. And pictures are worth 1,000 words, the old saying goes, videos are worth 10,000 or 100,000 words. And there seems to be no change. And there's the pipes in question have totally collapsed, or what broken apart, or what it. Well, I talked to a gentleman today on the north side of town, north 4 o'clock, north 31st. Same thing this ship is talking about at the address she was mentioning on the south side of town. So we have some extreme infrastructure collapse in this community. We gotta find out where it is and find a fix for it. Like Mayor Pro Tem said, I'm not gonna spend 3 years answering the same questions over and over again. Just not. We're gonna fix this stuff.
Mayor, can I add, I have a question. It was been brought up several times on TCEQ. Are we able to receive those reports as well as guys on the city council?
I don't know why you couldn't, I can.
I'm sorry, I have the answer. If they're called into the Beaumont office, they send a copy to the mayor. If they are only reported to Austin, which is what our city's been doing, then no, you don't get them.
Yeah, I would like these reports.
Okay.
Immediately.
I will make sure that council gets those.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And if it requires us feeling, now, if the letter did say we had to respond to the Austin office, then we did. It says we can respond to the Beaumont office, then we need to, if that's the procedure where everybody gets a copy of it and all. Okay, so I want there to be openness and transparency on this issue. We got nothing to hide. This administration has nothing to hide. So, you got something?
Yeah, on what we were briefly starting out with the 10 manholes and all the pipe, let's find out where we're at on that.
Okay.
What it's gonna cost and everything. quite frankly, I'm ready to see some big. All right, Tom.
Thank you. Any other member council? Any other citizen? Okay, thank you very much. The discussion regarding cat population within the city. Michelle.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council have requested at the June 9th meeting, concerning a citizen that had asked what could be done to curtail the cat population. I asked, Mr. Morrison, who's the supervisor.
You got the voting. Sure. And whose agenda item was this originally? Which council member?
Don't recall, I remember a citizen telling us the questioning.
Okay, if that citizen happens to be present tonight that brought it up last meeting about the cat population, please be prepared to enter into dialogue. Okay, go ahead, sir. What do you have for us regarding the cat population in the city and measures to get it under control?
That right there, and the one you're talking about, there is a problem over there. No one wants to get involved with it. Neighbors do not want to get involved in it because they're afraid of retaliation. So
can we get involved?
My understanding is the city does not have a cat ordinance. I don't know if there's anybody here that can tell me that for sure.
what we do,
Mr. Albanese, are you familiar with that?
Yeah, several years.
Former Mayor Albanese?
Not Albanese, several years ago, the council proposed the ordinance to not more than any 5 animals in one household. And it passed. And that's been on the books for years and years. I don't think it's been enforced, but it's on the book.
Maybe look at it. Thank you. Okay, now, with that information, sir, if there is an ordinance, and there's no more than any 5 given animals on that's Mr. Albanese recollect, it shouldn't require citizens to file a formal complaint, should it?
well, when it comes to the cats, what we currently do, if someone calls and says, hey, we have a cat problem. Okay, first thing we do is ask, how many do we have? Do you know where they're coming from? Is somebody feeding them? They say all of that, yes. What we end up doing is informing them, we actually have live traps that we loan to them. They catch them, we pick them up and go and euthanize them.
Okay.
And they actually have to sign a waiver saying that this isn't their neighbor's cat. That they do not know who the owner is of this cat. We don't want it to be Fluffy next door.
Presumably a feral cat. Presumably a feral cat.
Yes, exactly. And they all are, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And we go through a lot of traps. Dwayne is picking them up all the time.
And you said that was what you've done in the past. Hearing this news here, have you changed the standard operating procedure any?
No, sir. We have, I don't know how many traps we actually have out right now. But there's quite a few of them out there. And a lot of people use their own traps also. It's not just our traps. They actually own their own traps.
Do you know how many we have? I would expect you to maybe know that, but just off my head.
8. 5 traps, live traps.
Could we use more?
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, no, we can.
Like I told one of your colleagues earlier, whatever you were told in past years about only ask for what I tell you to ask for, you need to tell this lady what you need to do the job.
Yes, please do. If you need 10, if you need 12, if you need 15, we can amend it, we'll get it done.
Yeah, not a problem.
So. Any citizen have anything to say about this issue? John, come on.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Ortiz, 2011 Nashville. I'm on our website, and according to our website, a cat ordinance has not been adopted. Therefore, the city's animal control officer cannot catch stray cats. That's on our website. So we may not, well, I can find. It may
It's
be
on the
updated
website.
list.
If it's not up to date, it needs to be. taken
We
down.
found some things that weren't up to date on
So
there.
just FYI, I'm not, just, we need to make sure.
Thank you. And to Mr. Ortiz's comment and then Councilmember Jones, I just did a quick search and there certainly could be more. But it does talk about, in the ordinance under section 1022, which is really the dogs at large. But it does talk about cat feces. And it can be a public nuisance if it's endangering public health by the accumulation of animal waste, which would include a cat. And then if you go down to, section 1032, that's what, Mr. Albanese was referencing, that, the maximum number of adult animals at any residence, maybe a combination of dogs or cats, is 5. But both of those are both penal ordinances that can be prosecuted.
10.22.
1032 is the number of animals, and then 1022 is the dogs at large and cat feces.
Does it state any type of, what, do we know the fines for if you have 10 cats and we want to take action?
Yeah,
They don't want to get rid of them and been asked to violate ordinance. Where does that put us?
The fine for the violation is 125 per animal with a 7-day grace period for compliance.
Okay, my name is Jacqueline Toops and I live at 613 North 14th. We do have a problem with cats over there, and part of it is people just put food out to feed them. But I thought years ago, and maybe I'm wrong, I've lived here up to years, but I thought years ago that people that had cats, the city asked them, required them to have collars on and stuff, so you would know that that belonged to someone. Because I do know people that trap cats and they don't necessarily call the city, they just get rid of them. I'm not gonna call any names, but when you have a collar on, you know, my neighbors behind me have 2 cats. I know those 2 cats, they have collars on. I know those cats. I know when they come over, I've got them to where they stay out of my yard now because I shot them with a water pistol. Enough times they stay away from my yard.
That's the secret, you're after that.
They do. They can't stand the water pistol. And when I walk out with the water pistol in my hand, if they are in my yard, I just see the back end of it. And, but we need something. We do need something with the cats, because if your house is up on piers, I can't name the time at night that I get woke up because there's cats fighting either under the house or something else going on, or they have kittens under the house. At the other house I lived at next door, I had kittens all the time. The cats didn't belong to me.
Can you stop just a moment?
Okay.
Mr. Morrison, with this information that, she resolved as a requirement that cats have collars, is there anything to your recollection about that being in the ordinance?
No, and it's something that there is no leash law on cat also.
I've never tried to leash a cat.
They can be
But
done.
trust me, we get asked that a lot, because hold on, I gotta have my dog on a leash, but not a cat.
But if they had a collar on, at least you would know that if that was required with people. If it got trapped, if it got trapped in a trap and it doesn't have a collar, I don't care what I sign on saying that it doesn't belong to my neighbors. Because my neighbor needs to be responsible enough, if it's their cat, to put a collar to understand it belongs to somebody. Because I don't care if a cat is feral or if it's tame. A person needs to keep up with their cat, and they need to have the shots, they need to have everything done just like we have to have with dogs. I have 2 GSPs. I make sure that they have their shots, they have everything done. And people with cats need to be just as responsible as people with dogs. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, the practice in the past of having people sign this, now that you know about the existence of this ordinance, can you recommend some changes in y'all's enforcement procedure on this?
Well, I think we still have to, we still need the forms signed that we don't think that this is a neighbor's cat. We are constantly picking up cats, and that people are catching. It's pretty much every day that we're actually catching cats. Can we use more traps? Yes, we can.
Yeah.
And we can get more of them out there.
Make it happen, Phil. Any other member council have anything to say on this?
Yeah, ordinance 10-33, feeding of feral stray animals. To me, it just addresses what we're talking about. I would encourage our staff, city staff, to read it, section 10-33 of our city ordinances. Talks about fines for violations, etc. And it just says it shall be unlawful for anyone to feed any free, roaming, stray, or feral animal unless it is an intent to capture that animal, to transport, vaccinate, and or the animal for public health and safety reasons. So I think this ordinance covers everything we're talking about. I think we have due diligence here based on our ordinances to pick up a cat.
I enforced laws for 33 years. The law is useless unless it's enforced. We have the law. You know what to do to enforce it.
And I like that let's see this ordinance come back and we have problem areas.
Like what I'm saying.
We have problem areas in the city with the, five. We've got 20 cats. I think we need to maybe start moving on that. This down to try to provide some relief. I'm also a report right now, Chicago and 12. There's a vacant house there on Piers. There's about 10 cats running around, probably about 10, 12 weeks old. I just saw them, I was on the walk the other day. So I don't think anybody lives in that house anymore.
Where's this at?
That's gonna be at, Chicago and 12th Street, right here. That's a little vacant house on the corner there. Hanging around the back of the road shop, so.
Yeah, we, a lot of people don't want to be seen as a bad person. Oh, I don't want to get involved, blah, 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 but that doesn't fix the problem. We need to have it to where the city has the tools, use those tools, and let's reduce the number of unwanted animals in this community, because it's a health issue, it's a top quality of life issue. So you got your instructions, so.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other citizen have anything to add on this issue?
I kind of do.
Okay.
Did y'all think I would?
Miss Tony.
Susan Tony, 504 Carriage Lane. I don't want it to be open season on cats. However, I do understand the issue. The big issue is the education of the public. There are different programs called TNR, Trap, Neuter, and Release, which I know the city doesn't have them. But I know often sometimes when a cat is picked up by animal control, Officer Burrell will contact me. And in some situations, I have been successful in relocating them to a rescue or a rescue. Doesn't matter who it is, but they've been saved. It's unfortunate they have to go to the vet and they have to be euthanized. As far as collars on cats, that is a no. Because unless they are wearing a breakaway collar, cats climb trees, they get into things, they will get hung up, they will hang themselves. So the best thing is, and we do educate, don't provide a food source. Eventually the cats will go away. I know some people can't wait for that, but that does help. If you have a need that maybe there is a cat or two that you want to keep, a kitten, a teenage cat, yes, please go get it fixed. Maybe that's something as the Animal Advisory Committee can meet on and talk about getting more of these vets involved and offering low-cost spay and neuter, just not through what the city offers with the vouchers.
You're the city of
100%.
Yeah.
I got it right here. Animal Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Any other citizen or council member have something on this?
In the feeding, that's something we deal with a lot also. Having to go out there and talk to people, make them pick it up. Matter of fact, Dwayne and myself just went on a pretty decent case just this past week, matter of fact. Same thing. Two houses back side by side are feeding. You have to pick them up, We've given citations for it numerous times. Sometimes people can work with us on that, like, oh, I didn't know I was really doing anything wrong. You know, they just think they're helping a stray animal out. Most of the time, that's what we hear. But yeah, some of them work with us, some of them do not, you know, and then citations are issued. I know that is something that we deal with all the time also.
Thank y'all for your work. And
All right, it is now, 8:37 p.m. and, declare this meeting adjourned.